everyone, it's Alice, and I'm here with this week's episode of Book Chat. So I had to do my audit at work yesterday, so it is a case that we are filming this a day late, so if it goes up a day late then I am sorry in advance, but at least it will still be all of the news from last week, and then we'll still be able to feature all of the news for this week in next week's episode. So you'll still get everything, it just might be ever so slightly delayed. There is a lot to talk about this week. There have been some big developments with some book box companies and, well, a book box company in particular, but also Waterstones have had quite a big development with their Plus programme. So I'll dive into both of those. We've got some more stuff from book boxes as well, and a big section on the YA Book Prize today, so I'm very excited. To start off the segment, I do want to just say that there has been some sad news this week in that Sophie Kinsella has announced that she's been diagnosed with brain cancer. So I would just like to wish her all of the best and hope that she gets well soon and that the treatment and the recovery goes smoothly for her. I think it's very brave of her to share it. And she said she has known for a little while, but she obviously wanted to keep the news with her and her kids so that they could get used to the idea and kind of come to terms with it themselves before she brought it out into the public knowledge. But I just wish her all the best because she's a brilliant author and she seems like a really lovely person. We'll start off with the YA Book Prize segment today, in that they announced their judges for this year's shortlist, and I'm going to read out on my phone the full list because there are 3 of them that I know very, very well, and then 2 of them that I haven't kind of encountered before, but it's very, very cool either way. So for this year's YA Book Prize, the judging panel includes Alyce, who obviously wrote Heartstopper and has also won the YA Book Prize herself in the past with Loveless. Gavin Hetherington from Gavin Reads It All. His channel used to be How to Train Your Gavin. I have honestly no idea when he rebranded because I've quite clearly been lax at keeping up with watching booktube rather than just creating it myself. So I'm definitely going to be catching up with some of his channel at some point soon, but that was a really awesome announcement to see. We also have Anissa de Gomery, who is the founder of Fairy Loot, so that's really cool. And then along with those 3, you've also got Rachel Fox, who is the Children and Schools Programme Director for the Edinburgh Book Festival, and Katie Fraser, who is a staff writer at The Bookseller. So that seems like that's going to be a really solid judging panel. And it will be interesting to see what the shortlist looks like when that is announced. I think that's June that we finally get an announcement. And seeing as it's already like the last week of April, that's not far away. Which scares me a little bit, because if I'm still going to try to read them all, I'm going to have a fight on my hands. But we'll see how it goes. And it'll be interesting to see whether I disagree or agree with our judging panel. Talking of the YA Book Prize, we've also got some news from previous YA Book Prize shortlisted folk. In that A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the TV show, I think it's a TV show, the media tie-in cover has been revealed. So Electric Monkey released that on their social media earlier in the week, which means it must be quite soon to the release of the adaptation, and it's definitely something I'm going to need to look into because I will be honest, I'd completely forgotten it was even getting an adaptation, but that should be very fun to watch. And we've also had the news that Catherine Webber and Catherine Doyle are writing another 2 standalone novels in the Twin Crowns universe. So it sounds like each of these standalones is going to focus on one of the different kind of beloved characters from the main series. So Catherine Webber's book is going to come out in 2025, and then Catherine Doyle's book is going to come out in 2026. So they're writing them individually this time, but it's still the same universe and the same characters that we've grown to know and love. So that's a really fun concept, and it's nice to know that considering Burning Crowns comes out in 2 days, it's nice to know that we'll have another book on the horizon to look forward to because the first one is just absolutely splendid. Let us go on. So first up for Fairy Loot news this week, they've released the details of their edition of Hearts That Bind by Kika Hatsupolo. This is the sequel to Threads That Bind, which they featured last year, and I think it's a very gorgeous design. That'll be going on general sale on June the 28th. And as normal, there'll be early subscriber pre-sales and things like that. So if you are a subscriber or you did get last year's box with Threads That Bind in it, if you just make sure that you check Fairy Loot's social media for any of the details for all of those times and dates. And I will just quickly get you up. I found a waitlist update for Fairy Loot, so I'll read that out to you. But there's no way I'm going to be able to remember that without reading it, so let me get it. Right, so for the United Kingdom and International, the YA books waitlist is up to people who joined up on October the 9th. The YA book only is for people who joined up on November the 4th. The adult book only is for people who signed up on July the 29th. So we are looking at like a good kind of nearly a year behind on that one. Combo book only is on October the 14th, which kind of guts me because I signed up in the middle of December and I don't think I'm ever going to get off the waitlist for that one. And the Romantasy is people who signed up before May the 12th, which is like quite literally going to be a year in 2 weeks. So that's mad. And then you've also got the United States and Canada update. So their YA box waitlist is people who signed up on September 25th. YA book only, people who signed up on September 14th. The adult book only is people who signed up on May 31st. Combo is August 12th and Romantasy is August 31st. So I find it very interesting that the Romantasy subscription is further behind in the UK. Like, there's more people who've signed up that aren't getting on to the actual subscription yet. Whereas in America, the Romantasy is really far ahead, but everything else is super far behind. So there's nothing really to say about it. It just interests me because I'm a nerd when it comes to numbers. So if any of you are waiting for your Fairy Loot emails, at least you'll know whether to get your hopes up or whether to sit and wait and twiddle your thumbs. Like, people who signed up last month, I feel for them because it really is a long haul at the moment. And it's surprising, to be honest, because I mean, when I signed up for Fairy Loot, I think I only had to wait a couple of weeks. I can't imagine being on the waitlist for that many months. I would genuinely forget I'd signed up. But let's move on to the next thing to discuss, which is that Owl Crate posted their June emoji hints. I'm completely going off of the autumn book reads for these two guesses, so once again I will link her Instagram down below. She's absolutely superb at figuring out all of these book box picks. So she is predicting that YA's Owl Crate June will be the YA's? Owl Crate June's YA pick will be of Jade and Dragons by Amber Chen, which is also rumoured to be a Lumicrate's June pick. So if you are a subscriber to both, then you might want to start thinking about which one you're going to skip. And also that the Owl Crate adult June pick will be Foul Days by Genevieve Demova. I've probably really butchered that, and I'm sorry if I have. But the cover for that looks freaking amazing. So I'm definitely interested in seeing if Owl Crate do end up choosing those. As I said, autumn's normally right, so I would be surprised if they weren't those. But then I might consider getting them, even though I'm meant to be skipping more at the moment. But we'll pretend. It's fine. We also have the Locked Library emoji hints for June, July, and August. So June looks like it's going to be When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. There is a Waterstones edition of this one, which I've already got pre-ordered. I will leave the link down in the description for it. It has sold out, but they do keep, like, periodically restocking it. So it might be worth doing the thing when you can sign up to the waitlist on Waterstones' website if you're interested in that. July looks like it's going to be Bad Graces by Kyrie Corley. And August looks like The Spice Gate by Prashanth Shrivastava. So 3 very different picks, but again, if you're a Locked Library subscriber, then it definitely sounds like the kind of picks that you'd be expecting. So I hope that anybody who is subscribed to the Locked Library will enjoy those. And we've also got the fact that the Broken Binding revealed the design of their sci-fi sub Andy Weir set. So if you are subscribed to that, then you've got those to look forward to. So they've revealed the covers with the dust jackets and without the dust jackets. They are stunning. I do really love the stenciled edges, but they're not really to my taste. So I have, like, the FOMO has dissipated on this one, which is nice because I have been really kicking myself because I love Project Hail Mary in my bones. It's such a good book. But I've heard meh things about Artemis and I keep just twiddling my thumbs and putting off reading The Martian. So yeah, the FOMO's gone a little bit, which is nice. But I am low-key jealous of anybody who is getting these. Now we will move on to the slightly more controversial subjects of discussion, so buckle in. So if I'm going to be spilling tea, I may as well be sipping it. I've got my nice old Howler mug over here, so we're just going to settle in. with this nice cup of definitely tea, not hot chocolate, and then read you this statement from Waterstones about their Plus Point program. So, dear Plus member, we are writing to let you know of some changes to our terms and conditions regarding Waterstones Plus with regards to orders to be delivered outside of the United Kingdom. Due to system changes taking effect in May 2024, we will no longer be able to accept Plus balances as payment on orders being delivered to an address outside the UK. If you have a balance on your Plus account, what is wrong with me today? If you have a balance on your Plus account, you may use this on online orders to be delivered outside of the UK until the changeover occurs, and you are welcome to take advantage of this functionality until this point. We will be in touch again when there is a confirmed date. From the changeover point onwards, you will still be able to accrue stamps and balances when ordering online, as you do currently. However, any balances accrued will only be able to be spent in any Waterstones shop or on any online order for delivery to a UK address. Existing orders are unaffected by this change. So I find this very, very interesting because, like, it's just so vague. It's like, yeah, no existing orders are affected. Okay, that's great, cool, thanks. But it says that you can obviously place orders up until the cut-off point. There's no specification at all about whether those orders need to be sent and delivered and paid for using the Plus points before the cut-off point, which I think they should have specified. Because it's almost like saying, okay, well, you can order it with the Plus points up until, like, the whatever date of May it's going to end up being. But if you can't pay with them after that date and you order a pre-order with those points, surely that means that would be null and void by the time the pre-order actually ended up coming out. Especially because on Waterstones, you can get pre-orders up to a year in advance. Like, if they're very, very highly anticipated books. I mean, I've pre-ordered A.F. Stedman's Timeless, and I think that's coming out in September 2027. That's a long time away, so I can't imagine that standing. I can't imagine that they're going to say to, like, Mr. Smith, who lives in France, that, like, yeah, you can use your Plus points balance until this changeover to place orders, and then after that it won't work anymore. And then he places an order for Timeless, for example, and then in 3 years' time they're like, but you can't use that, it's expired. For him to then say, well, you didn't specify that in the original email. So I think they're really, really setting themselves up for some trouble by not being more specific. I think that it's kind of stupid anyway, because if they've been able to honour them all this time, what kind of system change is it really going to be other than we're tight and we want to save money? Because I can't imagine a new system being like, no, I won't accept these, because if you wanted it to, you would just program it to do that. I feel really sorry for international readers, especially because, like, if you're anything like me, what I do is when I know that books are coming out near payday, like, after, post payday, I'll pre-order those using my card, and then any that are like the week before payday, I'll use the points on. So because most of my pre-orders recently have been releasing on, like, the first 3 days of the month, I've just been using my card over and over and over, which means I've got like 50 or 60 quid's worth of points. So for international readers to then be like, right, okay, so I've got to spend all of this, like, £60 on these, like, on this website before this cut-off date, which hasn't even been specified yet, or I'm going to lose it. Okay, that's fine, I'll place some orders. But having that uncertainty of not knowing whether the pre-orders is actually going to count is going to make that much more difficult for people to make a decision. Because if that was me, I'd panic and buy loads of stuff that was currently in stock, even if I wasn't really that interested in it. And I don't think that's the right way to run a business. But that's just me. And I will also have a look at this it seems out of the blue for me. If you are a subscriber or you know more about this situation, then please do leave me a comment to let me know, because I need to do more research into it. This news I discovered yesterday. I'd been counting my audit the entire day. I mean, like, quite literally a 12-hour shift just counting shoes, which is a lot. And then I got home and was like, oh, what's going on with Obsidian Mooncrate? Oh, that. Okay. And I haven't really had a chance to look into it, because obviously this morning I went back in so that professional people could come and see whether I'd counted my shoes correctly, which I had. Did really well. Thanks for asking. But it just means that, like, obviously I haven't had a chance to, like, properly look into it. I've just seen this very out of context statement, and I'm not sure that it's going to be the whole story. So I did a similar thing a couple of years ago, looking into another book box that were doing shady dealings. And I talked to a few people about, like, their experiences and got, like, some stories from people. And that was, like, a really interesting video to put together. I was going to say fun, but it wasn't really fun. It was more just infuriating that they've been getting away with it for so long. I think it was Fabled, but please don't sue me for slander if it wasn't Fabled, because I honestly can't remember because it's been that many years. But if you are somebody who's had any dealings with Obsidian Mooncrate and you would like to share more on this story, then let me know down in the comments and I will put it into next week's book chat. So what they posted was this statement. Good afternoon. I'm not really sure how to even begin this, so I'm just going to lay my heart here for you all to read. Rachel and Willow, I want to apologise publicly to you both. You've been my biggest supporters and two of my closest friends. You don't deserve the backlash my actions are causing, and I'm so sorry. Rachel and Willow have both stepped down from OFC, which I think is Obsidian Mooncrate and Obsidian something crate, and are no longer affiliated with this company. To the authors that have been impacted in any way, I cannot apologise enough. You all deserved better when you entrusted me and my company to fulfil our side of the partnership, and I have let you down. Since late last year, I have been struggling with severe mental and physical health issues that have grown worse. In December, I started receiving multiple emails from customers telling me to unalive myself and other horrible things that no one should ever say to someone else. These emails that were sent multiple times a day, along with all of the stress from having everything so delayed, caused unspeakable damage. I don't want to get too much into it due to triggers for you all, but I am not in a good place mentally or physically at this point, to the point that I have panic attacks just opening my email or going into my office. OMC and OFC were my babies. I put everything I am into them. However, I can no longer do so. At this point, it is literally unaliving me to do so. With that said, I'm going to fulfill the orders that have been placed. Every box that has been bought, every order that has been placed will ship out. I swear to you all, I am not the type of person to ghost, but once everything is out, I am stepping down and away from the book community. I have 90% of the items for every box. It's little things I'm still awaiting to get them all out. Again, I'm sorry for how horrible things have been lately. I'm trying to overcome this crippling depression, and I hope that you can all forgive me for how things have turned out. So obviously, having no real knowledge of the company, I can only say what I saw in the comments or when I'd seen this statement posted. And there were allegations that refunds had been rejected because of the fact that the company had no money left, and that this has been a situation that's been going on for a while. To play the devil's advocate, I know what it can be like when you have depression and when you have severe anxiety, and obviously the pressure that you can put on yourself will then make that worse, and then you can't achieve the targets that you set yourself initially, and then obviously things spiral very rapidly out of control. So I do have empathy in this situation, and I do think that, like, telling people to unalive themselves is never okay. It doesn't matter whether your book is 17 years late. You don't fucking say that. I don't care. And especially if that's been like a massive trigger for this person. My only kind of knowledge of Obsidian Mooncrate going into this was the fact that, like, it was so well marketed before it launched. The subscription sold out within like a few minutes, because I'd been eyeing up potentially getting one, even though it was really, really expensive, because it was like exactly my kind of aesthetic. And then obviously it sold out so fast. And I think they did like an Empire of the Vampire tarot deck, I want to say, like maybe last year. But I will be honest, I haven't followed them closely at all. So as I said, if any of you subscribers or anybody watching this today is someone who is a customer of Obsidian Mooncrate or has had dealings with them in the past, then please do let me know what your experiences are. Shine a light on this situation. And as I said, I'll take the rest of this week to do some more research and see if I can come back to you with a bit more clarification and a bit more of like what the hell is actually going on by next week's episode. So I think that might be all of our news for today. I'm just going to have a very quick look in case I've missed anything, and I don't think I have, which means it's time to talk about Taylor Swift, which I've been waiting to do for this entire video so far. So basically every single book company posted like what to read for which song of the Torture Poets department, which was really freaking sick. And I was so excited, and I'm so glad that we got the whole anthology, because like, my fucking god, I mean, I will admit, the like bass album did shake me to my core. I was not expecting it to be so much about Matty Healy. I was expecting it to be like less of a bop and more of a sad, rather than like an, oh, we're gonna go on a manic episode and like start threatening to kill people in Florida. Very sick. Exactly the kind of album that I needed, and exactly the kind of album that I wanted, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I really enjoyed like the original. And then 2 hours later, she releases the anthology, and it's honestly just like, exactly what my little lizard brain needed. I've listened to the whole thing 5 times through, and it's only been out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days. And I mean, I got up at 5 in the morning and then listened to, obviously, the original album, and then listened to the whole anthology at 7, and then had already listened to it another time and a half just during my shift that day, just while I was in the stockroom. So I really like the new Taylor Swift album. What I'm thinking of doing is actually doing like an in-depth video with my thoughts on each of the songs, like interpretations of the lyrics and what I think might be the story that she's trying to tell. So if you are interested in that, it is coming. I am working on it. Whether I'll get too nervous to put it up in case I get absolutely destroyed by people, we'll have to wait and see. But I genuinely think it could be like hours long, and I think I'm going to need to split it as well because I have so much to say about every single song. And it's just so nice to have an album come out that I'm so freaking excited about. So that's the main thing that happened for me this week. Did I get any reading done? Yes, a little bit. But did I read anything as intensely, as closely, or as with as much focus as those Taylor Swift lyrics? Not a chance. I've been on Genius basically every single day since it came out, like reading all of the annotations and then thinking about the way that it works with like my thoughts on it and like combining them together to try and work out like the ultimate reading of the Tortured Poets department. So it's gonna be an intense video. If you really must make me choose my top 3, if you're gonna like hold a gun to my head and tell me that I have to pick 3 songs, How Did It End, Chloe or Samuel's For You or Marcus, and The Prophecy would be my top 3 at the moment. But I also love Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I think that the way that she's really tearing apart fan expectations and like just the whole toxic culture of like when you're an entertainer and they just see you as like that figure that will bring them joy rather than actually realizing that you have your own emotions. I think the whole thing is just genius. I love the way it tells like 3 different stories. It tells the breakdown of the long-term relationship. It tells the whole like manic rebound. It also is just such a great kind of incisive look at fame and the nature of fame and the way that that lens being on you constantly can lead you to do some really out of character things. And it's exactly what I needed. Like, I think this is probably going to end up being my favourite Taylor Swift album. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, but it's not very cohesive, and oh, it's too long. But, like, I love that. As somebody with ADHD, if you've got an album that's 31 songs long and it tells 3 different stories and you kind of weave the threads from one story to another, and then you've also got, like, throwbacks to other things, and there's, like, musical refrains that mirror and reflect other songs, and it's just so nice. As someone who has spent the last like month or 2 re-listening to every single song in Taylor's back catalogue preparing for this album, there are so many little callbacks to other things, and it made me cry twice when I was first listening to it, and either 4 or 5 of the other songs have made me cry since. So it's been a big week for me. It's been a big week, mostly Taylor Swift related, but a big week. Also, fuck you, Matty Healy, I hate you. I'm joking. No, as Taylor herself has said, like, everything is behind her. But, like, I never really liked the 1975 anyway, so it's fine. Who cares? Other than that, what did I do? I've read a book. I've started a book. I'm 20% into a book called The Year I Met My Brain. Surprisingly enough, it's about ADHD. I thought it was about time that I actually did the hard work and tried to learn a little bit more about my condition and see if there was any way of helping myself without medicating. Obviously, medication is a reasonable decision for people. It's a personal choice. My personal preference is to try to go as long without it as I can and see if I can get any other kind of workarounds in place, any other coping mechanisms. It's going well so far, but I was halfway through downing this mug before I remembered I'd asked Sean to put coffee in it, so that may have been a mistake while I'm filming, but it's fine. It's fine. Did I read anything else? Well, I tried to. I read a page of What We Didn't Say, and then it just kept reminding me of Taylor Swift's album, so then I listened to Taylor Swift's album instead. And I read a little bit of a book called Spin. I can't remember who the author is. I will get it up on the screen for you. I'll get Sean to put it up. It's one of the Riveted Lit free reads until, well, Simon Teen now. SimonTeen.com free reads until the end of April to celebrate the release of, well, the release of the Torture Poets Department and World Poetry Month. So it's thematically accurate. This is about a weaver called Arachne, and at the moment she's just learning how to weave. Her mother is teaching her. Her mother also tells her like stories about myths and legends throughout, but with like a feminist twist. Because she's basically said like whenever the bards tell the stories, they always have to twist the women to be more beautiful and to be more graceful because those are the stories that people are interested in. So it's very feminist, and at the moment I'm finding it really captivating because it's written in verse. It's very fast read, so I'm about a quarter of the way through that, and I've only read it for 2 sittings. So I'll let you know how I feel when I finish that next week. Did I read anything else? Honestly, not that I can remember. I finished House of Love. It was good. I think I gave it 3 stars in the end. It was just very focused on the actual like how to make your house clean when it was meant to be like cleaning and organising, and I was more interested in the organising part. My house is, as you can tell, chaotic. But it was more of the like actually how to clean, and even though it did inspire me to get quite a lot of cleaning done that I'd been putting off, I just still couldn't. I didn't love it, but I am interested in reading Patrick's other book, which is Laundry Love, because I think it would be fun to see different ways of doing the laundry and try to make that into a more fun chore rather than just a drag. And we read a little bit of House of Flame and Shadow. Haven't gone very much further. Probably maybe 25%. 25%? No, 25 actual physical pages. So chugging through that one very, very slowly, but still enjoying it. Still haven't picked up the sequel to Song of Silver again, though. And that's expiring on the library app soon. So I'm gonna need to get a wriggle on with that. I don't know why my brain's just hit a brick wall every time I think about reading it. But that is everything from me today. As I said, I will get a Taylor Swift video up for you, hopefully by the end of the week. And it'll have like, I'm hoping it'll have like a nice in-depth discussion about all of the songs and how I believe that they link together and what kind of story that I think Taylor's trying to tell. Obviously, it will all be conjecture and it's only my personal opinions on it all, but if it's something that you think that you would enjoy, then please do subscribe and keep an eye out for that going up. If you like this video, please like it, and as I said, if you do happen to have any kind of affiliation with Obsidian Mooncrate, if you know anything about them either as a customer or as somebody who's just kind of watched the drama from a distance, please do let me know what's going on there, and I'll try and have a more cohesive update for you next week. Until next time, I'm Alyce, this is the Bumbling Blogger. Thank you for joining me for another book chat. I'll see you soon. Bye! There's so many things that I've sent to Sean to feature in this, and I should have thought ahead and saved them a little bit more organised.